Hello everyone, my name is Brayden, this is Airless Quill 9, and in today's video, we are going to talk about knights. In this video, we're going to look at the 2024 knight stat blocks. There are two available here. We have the regular knight and then a new stat block called the questing knight. We'll take a look at each of those stat blocks. And I'll also compare the knight stat block from 2024 to its 2014 counterpart. That way we can see exactly what has changed between these two revisions. All right, but without further ado, knights are skilled warriors that are trained for war and tested in battle. Many serve the rulers of a realm, a religion, or an order devoted to a cause. And the regular knight stat block is meant to portray a knight who frequently leads troops in combat or works in units that dominate the battlefield. They may be in the attendance of squires or less skilled soldiers or commoners. So let's take a look at the knight stat block. So the knight is a medium or small humanoid of neutral alignment. That means they can be any alignment in 2024. They have an armor class of 18, an initiative of 0. They have 52 hit points. They have a speed of 30 feet. For their ability scores, they have a strength of 16, a dexterity of 11, a constitution of 14, an intelligence of 11, a wisdom of 11, and a charisma of 15. They have proficiency in constitution and wisdom saving throws. They are immune to the frightened condition. For gear, they have a greatsword, a heavy crossbow, and plate armor. Senses, they have passive perception of 10. Languages, they know common plus one other language. And the knight is a challenge rating 3 creature, granting 700 experience points and a proficiency bonus of +2. For its actions, the knight has a multi-attack that allows it to make 2 attacks using greatsword or heavy crossbow in any combination. The greatsword is a melee attack roll with a +5 to hit and a reach of 5 feet. And on a hit, it deals 2d6 plus 3 slashing damage plus 1d8 radiant damage for an average of 14 damage per attack. And the heavy crossbow is a ranged attack roll with a +2 to hit and a range of 100 to 400 feet. And on a hit with it, it deals 2d10 piercing damage plus 1d8 radiant damage for an average of 15. For its reactions, the knight does have a special reaction called parry. The trigger for parry is that the knight is hit by a melee attack roll while holding a weapon. In response, the knight can add 2 to its armor class against that attack, possibly causing it to miss. So, that is the knight stat block for 2024. Now, we're going to talk real quick about what has changed between the 2024 knight and the 2014 knight. And you can see I have underlined most of the changes here. So what has really changed here is that the knight stat block now specifies that the creature can be medium or small. They are, of course, a humanoid. That has not changed. And then neutral is used in place of any alignment for 2024. Now, the knight did gain immunity to the frightened condition. Beforehand, as you can see in the 2014 stat block, it had the brave trait, which granted it advantage on saving throws against being frightened. So now, that is no longer the case. They're just immune to the frightened condition. So yeah, that's a benefit there. The gear section, of course, is new, even though we knew from looking at the stat block before that they had plate, a great sword, and a heavy crossbow. But now those are items that can be looted off of a knight if they are defeated in battle. The languages section has changed a little bit. Now it says common plus one other language rather than any one language, usually common. And the multi-attack has changed a little bit. Beforehand, the knight could just make 2 melee attacks. Now it makes 2 attacks using greatsword or heavy crossbow in any combination. So it could make 2 greatsword attacks, 2 heavy crossbow attacks, or a greatsword and a heavy crossbow attack if it needs to, which is great. In 2024, the greatsword deals an additional 1d8 radiant damage, And the heavy crossbow now deals an additional 1d10 piercing damage and an additional 1d8 radiant damage. So those attacks are dealing a lot of extra damage than they used to, which is pretty great. And now the heavy crossbow is actually on par in damage with the greatsword, albeit it's doing one additional average damage than the greatsword, but that's to offset the lower to hit bonus that it has. So I quite like that change. That's pretty great. Now, they did remove the leadership action completely from the 2024 Knight, and honestly, I'm okay with that because leadership action kind of sucked because you had to use your whole action to do it, and basically it's just a bless, kind of, and it doesn't last that long, and it was kind of a waste of an action, honestly. It would have been better if this had just been active, and we'll kind of see that they have done something kind of akin to the leadership for the questing knight, but it is different. But other than those changes, the knight and in 2024 and 2014 are fairly similar, except that the knight from 2024 is a much better damage dealer than the 2014 version, and they have the immunity to frightened that the knight only had advantage on before. So I think the 2024 Knight is better in that way. So yeah, I think they came out on top with the changes that they got. So I quite like it. Next, we have the Questing Knight. So this is an entirely new stat block. The Questing Knight is supposed to portray knights that are on a mission. So ones that are maybe they're questing to defeat a villain or kill a beast or something like that. So this is the Questing Knight stat block. They are a medium or small humanoid of neutral alignment, so any alignment can be chosen for them. They have an armor class of 18, an initiative of +7. They have 202 hit points, quite a few hit points there, a speed of 30 feet. For ability scores, they have a strength of 20, dexterity 16, constitution 16, intelligence 11, wisdom 12, and charisma 18. They are proficient in strength, constitution, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. So that is quite nice for them. For skills, they have proficiency in athletics, perception, and persuasion. So that is pretty great. And then the Questing Knight is immune to the charmed and frightened conditions. So that's good for them. For gear, they have a greatsword, a longbow, and plate armor. So they have a longbow instead of a heavy crossbow, so that's a little different. Senses, they have passive perception of 15. Languages, they know common plus one other language. And the Questing Knight is a challenge rating 12 creatures, so that's a high challenge rating. They have 840 experience points, and they have a proficiency bonus of +4. Now, the Questing Knight has a special trait that the regular Knight did not have, and this is called Aura of Bravery. This states that creatures of the Knight's choice and a 30-foot emanation originating from it have immunity to the charmed and frightened conditions while they are there. So while they're within that emanation, they are immune to charmed and frightened. So that's kind of cool. I like that a lot. It allows the Knight to spread its own immunities to its allies, so that's a pretty cool aura, and I quite like that. Pretty nice. Like that a lot. In the action section, the Questing Knight has a multi-attack that allows it to make 3 attacks using Greatsword or Longbow in any combination. The Greatsword is a melee attack roll with a +9 to hit and a reach of 5 feet, and it deals 2d6 +5 slashing damage plus 5d8 radiant damage for an average of 34 damage per attack, so that's pretty good. The Longbow is a ranged attack roll with a +7 to hit and a range of 150 to 600 feet, and on a hit it deals 2d8 +3 piercing damage plus 5d8 radiant damage, also for an average of 34 damage. So that is pretty good. That means the Greatsword and the Longbow are dealing the same amount of damage, and I like that. That keeps them kind of in line with each other, so there's not a damage drop off depending on which one you use. Now, the longbow does have a smaller chance to hit, only a +7 compared to the greatsword's +9, but honestly, that's to be expected, so not too bad there, and just the fact that there's not a damage drop-off is pretty great. Spellcasting. Now, the Questing Knight actually has some spell casting that it can do as an action. It can cast one of the following spells using Charisma as a spellcasting ability with a spell save DC of 16. And once per day each, it can cast Daylight, Dispel Evil and Good, Greater Restoration, and Phantom Steed. Phantom Steed is really great because Phantom Steed has a massive movement speed. So the Questing Knight could cast Phantom Steed and mount that steed and have insane movement across the battlefield because of that spell. So that's a really decent spell option there. And the other spells are going to be really good. Daylight, I think, in particular, would be really good if the Questing Knight is trying to kill a vampire or something of that nature. That'd be pretty useful. Dispel Evil and Good is pretty great as well. And Greater Restoration will end most detrimental effects, so those are all good there. Overall, the Questing Knight seems like a pretty decent stat block, especially for a challenge rating 12. So they got massive hit points, and they're dealing some pretty great damage, almost 100 damage. Actually, I think it is slightly over 100 damage on average. So yeah, really good stat block. This is a pretty powerful, this could be a pretty powerful boss stat block for a decently or an average level party. So yeah, I quite like this stat block. This is a nice addition to the 2024 Monster Manual. But that is going to be it for Knights. So thank you all for tuning into this video. If you enjoyed it, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content like this. I greatly appreciate your support, and until the next one, I will catch you all later. See ya!